do an end of the week recap. Just got done for today. And so, one, I want to give a shout out to Imperial Fence. Um, they had stopped out today to talk, kind of go from there. So, that's great. I'm just working on getting the pricing. Talk to Homeland. We're just trying to figure that out right now. Um, so, a few things. I was talking about, I was trying to get higher, what is this person doing? I was trying to recruit my former supervisor. At this point in time, I thought these, won't go into all of it, but I thought the family dynamic was different than what it was. So at this point in time, I can't bring her on. But I told her like what the goal was. She came in, we did the whole the goals, like really what was the vision for the company, and we don't have her yet, but basically, I told her I'm trying to grow this as quickly as I can and then get her in, hopefully, even in the springtime if we're hitting the numbers that I think we're going to end up hitting. And then, so there's that. But I also did interview her son. This son I actually worked with only a handful of times, but this was probably like 6 years, 7 years ago at this point. Um, he was probably a senior in high school, I think, as a manager at McDonald's. And not that I remember much from him, just because I wasn't there all that much. The one thing that I remember is that he was a new manager. He was, he was able to kind of separate, even though everyone, there was the same age as him, he was able to separate, basically friendship from work. So I did like that characteristic. And then, like I said, it's been like, that was when he was like 18 and now he's 26. So now he's like an actual, man. So have a good feeling. I think he's going to end up coming on board. And so we're slowly building the team for what we're really looking to do, which is really exciting. I feel like what we're going to end up doing next is we're going to end up doing a rollout meeting for the EOS, which I've talked about in numerous videos with traction and for that, and basically set the tone for the year, talk about the vision for the next 1, 3, 10 years, and then the main thing is going over the core values, because a lot of these employees, or actually all of them, are from my previous company, which there was a lot of mistakes that we made, or I made personally as a business owner, just between not knowing what I was doing, not being consistent enough, not being, um, I just wasn't good enough. I'll just put it that way. And because of that, some of the employees aren't to the level that we need them to be. And it's more based on the core characteristics of there's certain qualities that each person needs to have in order to not survive this company, but thrive in this company. Because at the end of the day, like I've been saying it, I don't want employees anymore. I really want teammates. We're working all on the same team, going towards the common goal. And, with that, um, it should make a huge difference. Instead of me just leading the ship, it's all of us, I guess kind of like a dog sled mentality where it's like, it's, me on the back kind of guiding everyone and, everyone else, running full force, which is fine. I guess that's not even a good uh, interpretation either because everyone's going in the same direction. Whereas, most of the time it's kind of like doing dog sledding without training the dogs first. And like all of them are like on multiple sleds going in different directions and like we're going somewhere, we're just not going where we're supposed to be going, right? And we're not, eventually we'll get to where we need to be, but it's going to take forever. And I guess it's not guaranteed we'll get to where we need to be. So that's what I'm working on. So that's super exciting. And it started to pick up. It was pretty cool because Imperial came through, and my wife honestly was not pissed, but she was kind of like, what the hell? Um, because I guess they're seeing the videos either through this kind of stuff or on Facebook videos, stuff like that. And then like it's almost not that I'm famous by any means, but she's like, "You're famous." And I'm like, "Yeah." But anyway, so there was that. Great conversation. I love talking to contractors. I really do. This is kind of like what I've been trying to do with this channel And before I was gonna, I really built this channel so that way I can kind of build an audience and monetize off of that. Basically find things to sell. Not that it's the right thing, not that it's the wrong thing to do, but it's just I really like working with people directly. So that's what we're doing at this point. Um, and I guess it's going to do the same thing because I'm creating the content. A lot of people are watching the videos. They're checking out the emails and stuff that I do, and everything else that's being done. And we're taking a different route than most other, suppliers at this point. And instead of leading with, hey, we really want to offer you and supply your fence, it's more of like, hey, how can we help you out? And, here's this information and here's this information. So it's been working out pretty well. And, unlike with the other business models that we've been in, instead of like fighting for one sale after another, it's kind of like you get them in, build the relationships, and build long-term relationships. So, which is the nice part. It was, honestly, with the fencing, the way we had it set up and the lack of the sales and stuff like that, the closing percentage, it was just a huge, um, it was a huge grind, and it wasn't really fulfilling for myself, for my wife, really any of the employees, especially the people in the office, just because there was so many people that we had to talk to, and it didn't result in anything. And because of that, I never really got the company to where I wanted to be. We still don't have, pay time off, vacations, and like all that kind of stuff, and, health insurance and all that, just because we never got the company to the level it needed to be. So that's the main goal for this year is like how obviously like the focus for the company is like how can we help the contractors so much that it's almost like they feel obligated to order from us. And I guess it's not a great way to say it, but more or less, like I want to do everything we absolutely can, because if we're helping you grow and you're ordering from us, like if you're at, if you started with 2 orders a week and I get you to 4 and 5, well, not only are you making a lot more money, but so are we as well. And so the same philosophy is going to be with the employees slash teammates as well. It's like how can I offer everything that you need, right? And so one of the big things, even my the supervisor Glenda was saying to me, and because I kept on saying, I'm like, what do you need, right? And she was like, why do you keep asking that? And I said, because financial is just one aspect of this thing, right? The money is just one thing. That's there's a lot of different things that go into, you know, not only working somewhere, but like really thriving, wherever you're working. And, it does no good if you're just say your goal is to make, 6 figures a year, you're making 100 grand a year, but they're treating you like crap, the hours you don't like, you're not able to see your family, you come home pissed off every night, you dread going to work, all these kinds of things. And like for me with McDonald's, what ended up happening is, and looking back at it, I just never enjoyed it. It wasn't, I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it whatsoever. It wasn't fulfilling. And it went directly against what I'm good at. So I was intentionally trying to do something I'm not even good at for like 10 years. And like I would try as hard as I possibly could, and I just still wasn't good at it, right? So knowing that, which back then it kind of made me feel like I'm just like just never good enough. Whereas the problem wasn't with me. The problem was that I was doing the wrong thing. And again, going back to this EOS system, which again, you got to read traction. You got to, I'm sure there's other systems out there, but it just seems like everything's starting to click together. And, one of the things they talk about, and I talked about in the last video, is the whole, the right people in the right seats. But then it's also the GWC, which I kind of went over as well, which is, get it, want it, and has the capacity to do it. So one, the main thing is the right people, which is the people with the core values that we need, right, for this company. And then the right seats is now it's, we made some changes already. Like we had the one person that I thought she was going to be like the hacker. So that's the person that, once all the panels are done, the posts are done, stuff like that. Once it gets to her, for the panels, and she's adding, the goal is for her to add the posts and the gates and final strap down and everything else because that's what she's been doing. But then, like, it's been slow. So I'm like, just go build panels. And she's like, you know what? I really enjoy this much more because it's always the same thing. It's always, it's just the same thing over and over. There's not like, it's not stressful, right? And so it's what she's thriving at, right? And because we knew going, with some issues in the past that like she was getting stressed out. There were some mistakes that were happening that we just can't afford to happen. And overall, she was doing a great job. She was the one that helped start the company, and like while I was down the shore, like she was able to, keep the thing running and stuff like that, before we, started getting bigger. And while I appreciate everything she's done, I also have to realize that she isn't the ultimate person for the job. So we made that adjustment. So this week, like she's been doing the panels, I've been actually doing all the like the final packing, which is a good thing as well as a business owner. Like we should be doing every area of the business because like it's there's some things that she was doing that I typically better at finding a faster way a lot of the times. And so some of the things I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like even stupid stuff, like there should be a trash can in this one location because you're constantly having trash from the like packing the order and like the packing slips we put on the order, but we have one of those like the clear sleeves, like the packing slips you get for shipping, where you got the adhesive on the back. Well, every time like I take the adhesive off the back and it's like a full sheet, I'm like walking to the trash can. I gotta walk like 20 feet to the trash can. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like I need a trash can right here, so well, I just move the trash can. And it doesn't seem like that's that big of a deal, but these small little things they keep on adding up over and over. Over the course of the day, especially when we get busier and the volume starts picking up. Like those few, that 20 extra feet that I have to walk in both directions. Yeah, it's only like 30 seconds, but it stops me from what I'm trying to do. Like I have to go from instead of being in the forklift, maybe moving something. Now I'm taking the time to do that. So maybe it's not even really 20, 30 seconds. Maybe it's actually cost me like an extra minute or two because like how it is. Like you end up going and when you're doing something and then someone stops you, even though it's only a 2 minute conversation, it takes you got to stop what you're doing and then you talk to them. And then, like, once you go back to what you're doing, like, you have to kind of figure out, like, what you were doing to begin with, right? And get back in that mood. So it's not like a 2 minute conversation, it's really like a 10 minute, disturbance. So that's what I'm working on now. So that even other stuff, like I kept on asking her to do one thing with the pallets when you're going to strap them and wrap them, like because like you're basically using the forklift like 2 and 3 times for this order, depending if you're strapping or wrapping. I'm like, if you would just put these planks here, that would eliminate, one of those steps, right? So and that would save you like probably 2 minutes on an order. Well, if you're doing 10 orders and the goal is to get to 20 orders a day, well, that saves you 40 minutes, right? And if it takes you 10, 10, 15 minutes, just say 10 minutes to do a order, well, you're able to like do an extra, 4 orders because you saved that 40 minutes, right? So just what I've been working on. Trying to think what else. Going back to like giving the people what they want. One of the fence companies I was talking to, instead of I had to learn about their business. So most of the time we have everything assembled. That's what most people where we are prefer, but they don't like it that way. They tried it both ways. They rather do it assemble on site. So they're looking to buy full bundles of stuff, right? Because it doesn't make sense to sell them panels by the pallet when they could just, they prefer to have it assembled, to assemble it themselves, on site. So I'm working up pricing for that for them. Um, and it got busy today. There was one mistake, just the way we called back the order, and then they made it incorrectly. So then that took a lot of extra time that we shouldn't have. The guys also asked to be off, leave at like 12:31 today, which we're like, yeah, no problem. It's always slow, and of course, like today was crazy, like crazy. Well, not really crazy, but crazy for us. We had at one point we had 5 different people or different companies in the warehouse at the same time. Like it was crazy. Like it's never like that. So, which then, as soon as I saw that, like we were thinking about only running off the 2 counter people. I was like, I don't think this is gonna work. Like, because we really don't want people standing there. We want people in, out, and getting back to work. And obviously, you can't do that if you are waiting in line, right? So that's something we have to look at. Also, because it started picking up, like Kelvin, on the son that we were looking to bring in at this point, um, it's. I told him like first week of February, and then my wife's looking at me like because it started getting busy, and I'm like, yeah, maybe that's not going to work out. But I also don't want to torture him, and either because he's supposed to give me his, decision whether or not he's coming over, which I think he is. And I really hope he's. His mom said he's good. I feel like he's going to be pretty good. At least a step level, another step in the right direction. Because one of the big issues that I would make all the time is that I would take every, problems and possible solutions as either a will it fix the problem or won't it, right? And kind of like an all or nothing kind of thing. But it's not like that. What ends up happening is like you got to figure out where you are, from a 1 to 10, like whatever process or whatever you're working on, like where are you at? Are you a 1, where it's just always screwed up? You have no idea what the hell you're doing. Or is it a 10 where it's like it's the best it ever possibly can be? No one else is going to fix it, like make it any better, like that kind of thing. And so if we're at like just, being realistic with ourselves and we're at like a 3 and a 4, and we think, why this employee, what's that going to get us to? And it's not like an automatic 10, right? Because they haven't even like clocked in for the first shift. It's more of, okay, this is what I think. Maybe it's going to get us to a 6 or 7, right? And over time, through training and coaching and that kind of thing, then it will hopefully, improve even more. So that's where I'm at. Oh, I gotta get over. This traffic is crazy. So I think that's about it. I'm trying to think what of anything else before I sign off. Overall, I feel like it's been a pretty good week. I feel like there's been a lot of I think there's been a lot of improvements. There's been a lot of issues within the company that we're starting to see that are coming to light. Not just issues with it in the company, but also what's really sticking out, going back to this EOS, is when you figure out your core values and when you start grading or judging your staff or your teammates or your employees based on these core values, it's it's not a matter of if they can do the job or not. It's a matter of if they're going to fit within your culture or not. And because, like, if you don't have the right fit, obviously you can't be there and be near everyone, 100% of the time. So what ends up happening is that if they are, I don't know, like one of ours is like speed is king, right? Which honestly, I think I'm gonna just change to like LFG. That's a side note, but um, you know, So speed is king. So like we're expecting people to like hustle, right? And so if we're not with these, certain people all the time, and they don't like that, they don't enjoy it, it's not who they are, what they're going to be doing is complaining that we are basically pushing too hard. We're going too fast. It's like I'm working way too hard. Like that kind of thing. And they're saying that to the other employees, or they're saying it to the other, to the customers or the contractors and stuff like that. And like, what is that going to do? For your company, if you're trying to promote, or for me, if I'm trying to promote that we are the best of the best, not as of right this second, but we will be the best of the best. I don't care what anyone says. Like, it's gonna happen. Like, we're gonna keep on working on the processes, which that's another thing I'm working on. Because like now that we have, I'm trying to get Kelvin in on our team. It's like we need, and one of the core values is consistency. Like, we can't have a consistent, operation if it's not even written down. If we tell someone to go do panels, like there should be literally a sheet that says everything, like step one, step two, step three, everything to the minor details of how many times do you wrap, like when we're doing the final wrap. This came up because of the drivers. Like, hey, I can tell Lydia's not doing this. Like, we need this thing wrapped better, right? And I'm like, okay. So what I'm going to do for this coming week is I'm going to wrap it. I basically wrote up the notes. I'm going to wrap it the way I think, and then he's going to come in and I'm like, check this out, right? And let me know what you think. And if it's like, he's like, yeah, that's good. I'm like, all right, perfect. And then if it's not good, he's like, I really want one more wrap. Well, then I'm just going to adjust in the system, and then we're going to wrap it the one more time like he likes it, and be like, all right, is this good, right? And then if it's good, great. If not, then we'll keep on adjusting. Because at the end of the day, we need to constantly be like, we're so new at this. We have to constantly be testing and refining what we do on a regular basis. So I think that's all I got. So anyway, I hope you guys have an awesome Friday. If you need anything, like usual, not that anyone says anything, but if you need help with something, send me a message. You can do a comment, send me an email. You can send it to uh, support@localprohelper.com. And then basically I can probably make up a video or just kind of like do a live and kind of talk like this. So anyway, hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Talk to you.